Have you ever felt trapped? Imagine standing in front of a giant sea, with nowhere to go. Behind you, the most powerful army in the world is racing toward you. In front of you, an endless sea. There seems to be no escape. But what happened next became one of the greatest miracles ever recorded in the Bible. This is the incredible story of Moses and the Red Sea. Long ago, the Israelites had lived as slaves in Egypt for hundreds of years. Day after day, they worked under difficult conditions. They cried out to God for help, and God heard their prayers. God chose a man named Moses to lead his people out of Egypt and into freedom. After many powerful signs and miracles, Pharaoh finally agreed to let the Israelites leave. Thousands of families packed everything they owned. Men, women, children, and even their animals began the long journey into the wilderness. For the very first time in generations, they were free. But God did not leave his people alone. During the day, he guided them with a towering pillar of cloud. At night, he led them with a brilliant pillar of fire that lit the darkness. Every step of the journey, God was with them. Back in Egypt, Pharaoh watched as the Israelites disappeared into the distance. Then his heart changed. He became angry. "What have I done?" he shouted. "Why did I let them go?" Immediately, Pharaoh ordered his army to prepare for battle. Hundreds of chariots rolled across the desert. Powerful horses raced forward. Elite soldiers gathered their weapons. The greatest army in the world was coming after God's people. Meanwhile, the Israelites continued their journey. Children laughed. Families rested. Hope filled their hearts. But suddenly, someone looked behind them. A cloud of dust rose into the sky. The sound of horses echoed across the desert. Chariots were approaching. Pharaoh's army had found them. Fear spread quickly through the camp. Parents held their children close. People began shouting. Others started crying. Everyone turned toward Moses. Then they looked ahead. The Red Sea stretched across the horizon. There was nowhere to go. The sea blocked their path. The Egyptian army was closing in behind them. The people felt trapped. Some became angry. They cried out to Moses, "Why did you bring us here? Weren't there enough graves in Egypt? Now we're all going to die." Moses listened to their fears. But he did not panic. Instead, he looked toward heaven. Then Moses spoke with calm confidence. "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the salvation of the Lord today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again." The people became quiet. They waited. Then God spoke to Moses. "Why are you crying out to me? Lift up your staff. Stretch out your hand over the sea. I will make a path through the water." Without hesitation, Moses walked toward the edge of the sea. The people watched in complete silence. Moses raised his wooden staff high into the air. Nothing happened for a moment. Then, the wind began to blow. Slowly at first. Then stronger. And stronger. The clouds rolled across the sky. The waves began to move. Water pushed farther and farther away. The wind continued all through the night. Then something incredible happened. The sea began to divide. Higher and higher, great walls of water rose on both sides. A wide path of dry ground appeared through the middle of the sea. Everyone stood in amazement. God had made a way where there had been no way before. Moses stepped onto the dry ground. Families followed him. Children looked up in wonder at the towering walls of water beside them. Fish swam through the crystal-clear sea. The ground beneath their feet was completely dry. Mothers carried babies. Fathers helped the elderly. Neighbors encouraged one another. Step by step, the people crossed safely. Behind them, the pillar of fire stood between Israel and Pharaoh's army. The Egyptians could not reach them. But Pharaoh refused to give up. He ordered his soldiers forward. The chariots entered the path through the sea. Horse after horse, soldier after soldier, they rushed between the towering walls of water. Finally, the last Israelite stepped onto the opposite shore. God spoke to Moses one more time. "Stretch out your hand over the sea." Moses lifted his staff once again. Immediately, the great walls of water began to fall. The sea returned to its place. The path disappeared beneath the waves. The Egyptian army could no longer continue its pursuit. God had completely rescued his people. The Israelites stood safely on the opposite shore. They looked back in amazement. They realized something extraordinary. God had done exactly what he promised. He had made a way through the impossible. Joy filled the camp. Miriam, the sister of Moses, picked up a tambourine. Women gathered around her with singing and dancing. Everyone praised God together. They celebrated his faithfulness. They celebrated his power. And they celebrated the freedom he had given them. Moses looked across the sea one final time. He knew this miracle would never be forgotten. It would be told from generation to generation, as a reminder that God always keeps his promises. The story of the Red Sea reminds us that we all face impossible situations. Sometimes we feel trapped. Sometimes fear tells us there is no way forward. But God can make a way where there seems to be no way. When we trust him, he is able to do more than we could ever imagine. No problem is too great. No obstacle is too large. No situation is beyond his power. Just as God fought for Israel, he is still faithful today. Remember these powerful words spoken by Moses: "The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still." Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this animated Bible story, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories from God's Word. Until next time, may God bless you.